Okay, in this activity what you need to do is draw and label the action and reaction force pairs. Now these are specifically Newton's third law of force pairs, and this is the law that everybody knows how to state but nobody understands. Okay, so the general way that students will often state Newton's third law is that for every action there's an equal opposite reaction, and though that is grammatically correct, it is how it's interpreted which is usually wrong. Okay, so a far better way to look at it, or how I always explain it to people, is that when you look you see one obvious force, whereas in reality there are always two. So if we just have a quick look at the first example, this is just the way that these things are done. Okay, you can see you've got two objects being pulled apart. This is actually coming from a PhET Colorado simulator, and this is the force of gravity that's acting in between them, so it's a non-contact force. This one here, if you notice the way that this is actually written, this is force on M2. Well, this is M2 by M1. In other words, this is mass number 2 by M1, okay? Because the force of gravity is the interaction between the masses, okay? Each mass pulls on the other one, and it pulls on it as though they were connected somehow by maybe some sort of a string. And in here you've got a force of tension, okay? And that force of tension is the same everywhere in that string, or that big rope or whatever it is, okay? I'll take that out of there just for to avoid confusion. So you can see that how it's written is this would be F. We usually use the convention of on by, okay? So the force fell on object 1 by object 2. So that's the convention we would usually use. Force on object 1 by object 2. Okay, so this would be the force fell on mass 1, on mass 2 by mass 1. And whereas this one would be the force fell on mass 1 by mass 2. Okay? Here's the one that's really misconceived altogether. So action is the fist exerts a force on the jaw. Reaction is that the jaw exerts an equal but opposite force on the fist. Okay, and that's the general gist of how these things work. Okay, you're looking for the force pairs. One thing pushes on another, well then the other thing pushes back with an equal and opposite force, as though there was either a string or a spring somewhere in between the two. Okay, and again you imagine that if that spring was there, then it's an equal tension or equal compression at all points, and that's how to think about Newton's third law. Okay, it is absolutely not this guy says something bad to this guy, and therefore this guy hits him. That's cause and effect. That's totally different. Okay, so go and label these with action and reaction forces. Hopefully it makes sense. Best of luck with that, guys.